This one, goes back a little bit, but it's a really important issue that just doesn't get any coverage at all. And that is during the 40s and the 50s, the U.S. just dropped a bunch of nuclear weapons out in the Pacific Ocean on islands. And, when you look at a globe or something and you look at the size of the United States and you see these little dots of land out there, you really don't think about them much. But some people live on some of those little dots of land. And when you drop nuclear weapons on the island a couple miles away from theirs or wherever it was, it creates some pretty significant problems for you and your people. So what's going on with the Marshall Islands?
Yeah, so there was a story in the Associated Press about this, that the U.S., the Biden administration, is refusing to engage with the Marshall Islands about compensation for the damages caused by the dozens of nuclear weapons tests and to clean up the radiation that's still there. But it was interesting because the AP, they titled the article that Congress is worried that this issue is gonna, that because there's this disagreement with the Marshall Islands, China could move in to the area. So that's what they're concerned about. But the Marshall Islands, it's essentially a U.S. territory. They have an agreement with the Marshall Islands and other Pacific island nations. And there's a major U.S. military base there, but that agreement is due to expire soon. And there is a major issue over the nuclear stuff because the U.S. in the 1980s, they paid out like $150 million to the islands for the test, but that's nothing to clean up all the radiation and stuff. They estimate that it's about 2 or 3 billion, I think, that they want. So, I mean, and this stuff is really, really horrible. A good documentary about it is The Coming War with China, it's called, by John Pilger. And the first part of it kind of goes over the U.S. kind of legacy in this area. And on the Bikini Atoll, especially, they carried out this huge test, and then they let the native islanders like go back, and when they knew that they would be exposed to radiation, and that's just one part of it. These people that they quoted in the AP story, one guy, his mom was pregnant when one of the tests happened and gave birth to a stillborn baby, and this stuff is still happening today, and it's really horrible. And yeah, the U.S. just doesn't have any interest. They said, "Oh, we paid the settlement. That's it. We don't have anything else to discuss."
Yeah, I forget. I want to say it might have been Anne Wright who was doing some activism and writing on this and was talking about how, like, after one of the tests, like, the fallout actually fell on the Bikini Atoll. And so, like, people didn't know what it was because they weren't, like, told, like, hey, at least stay inside your house or something like that. And so, like, people were out playing it and just getting it on them and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure, the $150 million doesn't even get close to, like, covering the cancer caused by this, much less like the needed, like, clean up a treatment or from all the tests and everything. And the fact that the U.S. government that spends what's the military budget looking, 800 billion or something, the NDAA might be packed full of already.
It's crazy.
And that they're trying to give away the billions of dollars in funds to that was for the Afghan government to literally anyone but the Afghans. Why not at least give it to these people, right? Like, help somebody that was hurt, but they're gonna give it away to I think they're gonna, like, settle up on some lawsuits that judges have issued against the Taliban or something like this, and maybe gonna give some of the money to Ukraine and all kinds of crazy things when, if the government is going to do something with billions of dollars other than give it to the Afghans, at least give it to some kind of victims of U.S. foreign policy.
Yeah. Yeah. People should check out that documentary because it's just something a lot of Americans don't know about. And then that also goes over, Okinawa, like, people in Okinawa are very opposed to the U.S. military presence on that island, and I forget the percentage of how much of the island is covered by U.S. military bases, and the pollution and the air pollution. I mean, they have fighter jets flying in and out of this, like, the these little villages on this beautiful island, and the U.S. is just like destroying their the habitats and stuff. And in South Korea too, there's a lot of opposition to the U.S. presence there, and it's something people don't think about too much.
Yeah, a lot of the bases I know, I've read about them in South Korea specifically. The foam they use to put out fires on runways and stuff like that, and they probably just use it for training and stuff like that too, is highly, highly like toxic and cancerous. And like I think they just kind of let it sit in the like soil or like seep into the groundwater, and it's a problem, you know, probably forever. You know.